Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram. And today's video is my May bullet journal setup. So this is going to be one of those rare videos I do every once in a while when I have the mental capacity to record my bullet journal setups, my monthly ones specifically. Because I spend a lot of time on my monthly setup. So that's neither here nor there. So hello, if you're coming from the bullet journal side of this planning community, I typically do memory planning spreads in my A5Y inserts, but I started out as a bullet journaler, and then kind of transitioned over to memory planning, and then rediscovered bullet journaling since I have an extensive sticker collection. I figured I could use my extensive sticker collection in my bullet journal. So that's what's going on here. I have a few kits where I'm not really sure where I'm going to use them in my memory planner. So I decided to challenge myself this month to use what's considered a standard weekly kit in my bullet journal. So, quick rundown in actually, let me back up. So for May, I'm using the Breathe kit from Hello Petite paper. It is foiled in silver. I actually got this as part of a D-stash, so there were pieces missing, but it was still enough to do what I would it was enough for what I would need for standard weekly in my memory planner, but I wanted to try to challenge myself because there's been a lot of talks in the memory planner community about sticker kits and what is called a decorative kit, which is more decorative sheets versus what's in a standard weekly kit, which are full boxes, functional label boxes, bottom washi, and all that jazz. So I have been using decorative kits in my bullet journal before, and to kind of parallel or going hand in hand with the conversation about decorative kits and stand in A5 wide inserts or just memory planning format, I wanted to try to use a standard kit in my bullet journal. And that's how we're here. So cover page was relatively simple, just like large decorative pieces. What's really nice about having, sorry, that was my water bottle. What's really nice about these very expansive kit formats from various sticker shops is that there's tons of deco now, and it's really easy to create collages and moments in my journal. And I do want to point out that to supplement this kit, because Hello Petite Paper's florals, at least I didn't have the large floral sheet, but her floral sheets are also pretty small. I supplemented this with the floral collection #1 from Blissful Jayde Designs. I feel like this floral bundle was like a genius idea. It came with like trim size boxes, corners, edges, and bouquets. And while the florals don't exactly match, I think, daisies and daisies, it's close enough. One of my favorite features from Liz's kits, she's the owner of Blissful Jayde Designs, at least with this floral bundle set, is the fact that she mirrored their inverses of the one floral edge or floral trim, so you can make Dutch doors, because I typically make a Dutch door on my calendar page, which is what you're seeing here, with tasks underneath. Not that my tasks are particularly private, they're pretty standard things that I feel like a lot of people do. It just, I like having Dutch doors. I don't know, it's been like my thing recently, because I like having Dutch doors that where the elements on top interact with the elements on bottom, which is kind of like labor intensive because you kind of have to think about it, like how the two pages or spreads are going to interact with each other. But having those mirrored floral trims like made this so easy. Like I think one of the things with Dutch doors for me is trying to figure out what is going on the underside. Most of the time, I'm just like, I'm not going to worry about it. But for this one, I didn't have to think about it because it was done. Um, for my monthly calendar, I tried. Normally, I do like a grid. 5 by 5, I believe, is what I normally do. But this time, I kind of decided to go with a like slightly more organic look where I drew in the boxes with the rounded corners. I freehanded them, which I like. I just am not a fan of the freehanded look, but I do agree that it gives a much more natural looking edge to it. Or not edge, but like it just feels more organic when you do it that way. So, with all of the florals in this kit and how like natural, how kind of light this collection was, I wanted to stick to having something a little more less structured. I mean, there's still a lot of like rulers and lines in here, but for my calendar, I wanted to go a little less structured. So this is a babysitting thing I use. It's not going to be relevant to anybody. But I realized a few days later that I forgot to finish decorating the side up. So I came back a couple of days later. You'll see the sleeves change, the rings might change. So I usually do take a few days to finish most of my kind of spreads. It usually takes me a few days. So just wanted to not leave this side too bare because it needed to also look pretty, even though it's mostly functional. So that was my calendars and my like monthly task section. The next section I'm working on is what I call my social media brain dump. So on the left side is going to be a little calendar with like a with sections for what I'm planning to post and what I actually do post. So when I plan to post something, I write it in pencil. When I actually do post it, I write it in ink. On the right side, which we are currently working on, is kind of what I call a brain dump, a social media brain dump. Here is where I'll house like happy mail that I get and just write it down so I don't forget to film that. I'll also write down my PR posts since I do have a PR posting requirement for one of the shops that I PR for. And I'll jot down random thoughts, ideas, video ideas mostly, or maybe song ideas for Instagram reels that I think of. And I don't really like at first, I left myself a lot of room when I first developed this spread. But I realized with time that I kind of usually with Instagram reels, I usually just go ahead and like write it down in Notion. So I don't really need a physical place to put that information down since I do have my Notion for that. But sometimes I'll like sit in here and thoughts will come. So it's nice to have a place to like actually write things down. So that is this side of the spread. Usually I work on that side first because it's less structured. It can be a little more creative. It like I don't need a lot of writing space. Whereas this one, um, I've been toying with the idea of doing like these grid setups off camera, but for this one, I did it on camera. I need the calendar, obviously, and I also track social media number growth up at the top. Not that it really matters to me, but sometimes like it feels nice to see the numbers go up. So that's why I still track that, but it's not like any like I don't sit down to actively think of methods to increase my following or anything. It's nice to see. It really is. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's just somewhere for me to like just see because 2024 Kat would not have thought that she'd be where she is now. in the planning social media world. So that's really nice to see, like, just where I've come from and how things are growing. It also kind of shows you if, like, Instagram specifically is being a little funny with the algorithm, but that's it. I usually do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I stack the weekend. I don't typically post that often on the weekend, so I'm comfortable just giving the weekend one spot. But if I do need to, then I'll just, you know, write it in, make the room work. I still have the room on the right side to be able to, write things in if I really want to. So that is that page, that spread. This spread is just a meal tracker. I track meals for myself and for my son. Generally speaking, we have the same meals, but if I notice that he's consistently eating different meals than us, um, it would mean like it's nice to see if there's a relationship with what we're eating versus what he's eating and what he doesn't want to eat. So that's usually what I keep my meal tracker for. We also reference it for when we need to determine if leftovers are still edible, because oftentimes I don't remember what I ate the day before. So I have a meal tracker still. On this next set of pages, this is my what I consider my trackers pages. It has my package tracker, my habits tracker, and then underneath this Dutch door, or like here, this Dutch door I'm working on, this is my finances tracker. I like to keep my finances tracker under a Dutch door for, I think, somewhat obvious reasons. I don't want my business out there in the world. So originally I was going to try to do another Dutch door with the floral trims. However, these floral trims were not mirrored. So I didn't realize that until I already cut the page out. And this is kind of a standard size for my finances tracker. So while I could have tried to trim it down more, I didn't really want to. So I had to come up with a game plan to rectify that situation, which was to create this like kind of peekaboo or layering moment between the two pages and just hope that the adhesive on that top page kind of fades after multiple uses. I did put some of the sticker paper on the backside just to mitigate it a little bit. But my hope is that with use and with, flipping back and forth, that the adhesive starts to wear off and I won't have to worry about ripping anything. But it does pay to look at your stickers first before you go ahead and do anything. Just, learn that lesson. So I then wanted to pull in more of these quotes from paper trail plans because quotes are just an easy way to add a huge impact of foil without a lot of work. They also aren't like blinding. Like you could tell that there's foil there, but it's not like boom foil. It's like, a hint of foil and it takes up a lot of room. I really just like prefer using quotes, I guess is what I'm saying. And then just sprinkling in some of the smaller deco in for uh, just to finish off the side so it felt a little bit more complete. And since it's springtime and I'm in my butterfly era, butterflies everywhere that I can cram them in. Me and butterflies, we tight. I love butterflies. Like that is one motif I will never, ever, ever, ever get tired of. Sometimes I get tired of pulling in scripts. Sometimes I get tired of pulling in like cluster deco, but butterflies, you're going to see them in like all over the place in the spring, just all over the place. And I then line the edges of my floral trims. I don't like them hanging there. So that is that. On the left side, this is where my package tracker typically lives. I've been trying to be so much better about not overspending. So I've been trying to reduce the size of the package tracker, which allows for me more room to do these large decorative collages. I've been taking notes from Jess of Lustrous Plans with her like large collages. So this is the first of two that you're going to see here. with these collages, it's for me mentally like a full box. Like I thought I've already like fixed or learned this lesson or like broke the habit, but a full box, I don't really like to cover up a lot of the full box, even though like my thing is tilted boxes, which is, you know, where you tilt the boxes. And this comes from the fact that in column land, it was the trend, or it wasn't a trend until somewhat recently in the sticker planning community, to tilt the boxes and be outside of those columns. So even though like that's kind of where I came into this community and it's very natural for me, I really still don't like covering up too much of my full boxes, which is very strange to me. Um and this exercise with these collages has been challenging me to remove those boundaries, like those edges. Like don't stress about them. Don't worry about filling it up. Like covering up the full boxes is going to create a much more natural look. So I really challenged myself here to go ahead and not ignore, but to push those boundaries. So that was those 2 pages. On this last spread that I do, which is my memories page, I had only one of the bottom washi strips left over in the kit, because the previous owner had already used one. So I was like, what do I do? Like the bottom washi's not long enough to fit both pages. It was also partially cut into, so it kind of like wasn't fully integral. So I decided again to do another collage, and just throw, like, take whatever stickers I had left and try to make it look not super crazy. Um, and I think I was somewhat successful in this. I think the hard thing for my head to get around is the fact that a collage is going to look busy, and my brain just doesn't comprehend that with my full boxes. Like this is a conversation mostly on the full boxes part. So, you know, collages, working that out. And since I didn't have enough to use in a weekly spread for this collection, I decided to pull the functional boxes and use them kind of as like section breaks in the deco with the white space. Just finding creative ways to use those. And as you notice, I didn't title any of my spreads, mostly um, after the social media dashboard. But I've been bullet journaling since 2015-ish, and I've really found my format back in like my spreads. I've really figured out which spreads I like to use in like 2018. So I already know what my pages look like, so I don't really feel the need to title them. So you'll see that I don't typically title them when I do this. So that is my bullet journal setup. I do go ahead and write in or draw in the boxes afterwards. So that was my cover page. Here is my calendar page with my this month underneath the Dutch door, my social media dashboard with my calendar and brain dump, my meals tracker for myself and my son, my trackers pages, right? So the pages are still stuck a little bit, but it will work its way less sticky with time. And then lastly, my memory spread. And that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you gave the video a little like, hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!